Good afternoon and thank you for joining us on Your Stocks. I'm Surabhi Upadhyay and with me is Nigel D'Souza. What a challenging day it's turning out to be for the bulls once again. We're still looking at lower levels in the market. 100 gone off the Nifty. There's been some sort of stability, if you can call it that, but we're dealing with a day when the Japanese market's fallen over 5%. We're also looking at some weakness persisting in Europe. Dow futures last time I checked was still in negative territory. But for the market, I guess, you could say that at least it's not been as bad as the kind of fear factor and the kind of nervousness, Nigel, that we've seen in some of the regional markets.
That's right. Surabhi, I think when the European markets open out, they open up with some green and then in fact they slip into the red, and that's not really helping the Nifty's cause, because one would have thought yesterday those markets came in for a bit of a bashing, so we could see some kind of a bounce there. Let's enjoy the last couple of hours. That's where the Nifty pulled back close to 35 points approximately. Dr. Reddy's numbers as well didn't look too bad, but after that, in fact, it's seen a lot of selling pressure and we're back closer towards the low point of the day. So things not looking too good. The mid-cap index as well is taking a bit of a whack. It's down close to around 1.5% as we speak. And just take a look at the advance to decline ratio. Now that really gives you a sense of what's going on in the market. We have one stock that's advancing for every 4 stocks that are declining. Good to see we have a strong set of numbers that are coming in from NFL. The EBITDA has grown up by close to around 15%. We're seeing top line though, that's down close to around 6%. So yes, as has been the case in this this result season itself, not too many companies coming in with top line growth, but encouraging to see that at least we're seeing some margin expansion of around close to around 160 basis points, and the profitability as well looked quite good. But let's start answering some of your queries. So let's kickstart the show. We have Mayuresh Joshi who joins us, as well as Naresh Mirani. Thanks so much, gentlemen, for joining in this afternoon. Straight to our first caller then. Dilip calls us from Karnataka, Kolkata in fact. He has investments in Gati. Hi Dilip ji, good afternoon. How can we help you?
मैंने गति लिया है 500 में
जी,
तो इसका क्या करना है, कैसे होगा?
ऑलराइट, और दिलीप जी आप लॉन्ग टर्म इन्वेस्टर है?
हाँ, लॉन्ग टर्म.
Alright, Mayuresh, let's come across to you first. Gati, what's your take? Do you think you should hang into it?
Afternoon, Nigel. Clearly, I think if you look at the operational performance that Gati has come out with, I think the EBITDA margin came in close to 8.1, 8.2%. But clearly, I think what has happened is with the investments they're probably doing in expansion of the network pipeline, that is probably taking a toll in how their bottom line and the margin performances is panning out. Clearly, I think in terms of how the railway business is panned out for Gati, I think you're still assuming an annuity loss of close to around 40-45 odd crores. On the e-commerce business, you've probably seen some improvement happening on a quarterly run rate basis, and that has probably happened because of the kind of sheer volume growth that we are probably witnessing in the e-commerce industry. So clearly I think e-commerce has held up pretty well. I think the investments that they're probably doing even on the warehousing front related to their COSAR business, I think even that is going to take some amount of toll onto the return ratio. So clearly I think you are going to see a very slow and gradual recovery when it comes to earnings from Gati on a consolidated basis. They've actually cut down on their PIN codes as well and the non-profitable routes that they used to cater to. So clearly I think there is a consolidation plan in phase. You're probably looking at, as I mentioned earlier, the network being improved, and that expansion probably is entailing higher capex and probably a dent on the return ratio. So clearly I think the investor needs to have a view of more than 2-3 years to say the least. And again, I think GST implementation is going to be a huge kicker for stocks like that. I think when that happens is a big question mark, but when it does happen, I think that's going to be a huge boost for earnings. From an interim point of view, I think the earnings will be under pressure, so he has to keep that patience into the stock and a long-term view of at least 2 years.
All right, then thanks so much for that. But it's earnings season, so let's get cracking then. We have management that joins us currently. We're joined by Mr. Dhanuka, the Managing Director of Dhanuka Agritech, on the phone line. Hi, Mr. Dhanuka, thanks so much for joining in. On the top line, we're seeing a good growth of close to around 15%.
Okay, all right, Mr. Dhanuka, we'll leave it on that note then for this quarter. Thanks for joining in. Good luck with those plans. We'll take a quick break. Market still down, 88 lower on the Nifty. Most parts of the market, barring pharma, are struggling today. We'll take a break, come back and focus on some of your questions.
Welcome back. Then, as we speak, the Nifty is still struggling, though results are coming in thick and fast. But let's address some other news. Then we have Dabur. The stock is in focus for the last 1 hour or so, as they say that the operations in Nepal will return to normalcy in due course. We're joined currently by the CEO, Mr. Sunil Dugal, who joins us. Hi, Mr. Dugal. Thanks so much for joining in. Could you tell us, give us some numbers? The last time we spoke, you told us that in fact the revenues got hit by close to around 100 crores in the last quarter or so. Now with this stabilizing, maybe not in quarter 4, but in quarter 1 of the next financial year, will we see these sales coming back? And secondly, you had also told us that you had ramped up a couple of other facilities, that's Rajasthan as well as Sri Lanka, I believe, giving us all those details. Stock is holding flat in otherwise a very, very weak market. But just keep your eye out on Jubilant Life as well. The total income has come more or less flattish. I think Parinda tells us that it's a tad bit below Prabhudas Leeladhar's estimate. Even the EBITDA number, they say, Parinda told us that in fact it's a tad bit lower, though the numbers optically are looking very good because it's a profit number in comparison to the loss. So a bit of a dampener is that in comparison to Prabhudas Leeladhar's numbers, it is a tad bit low, and that's why in fact the stock is not moving higher in spite of the fact that we are seeing such a big bump up in terms of profit versus the loss. Keep your eye on Dr. Reddy's as well. That stock was holding more or less flattish when the numbers came out. Take a look at what's happened in the last few minutes. It's down 3.5%. It slipped close to around 1.5%. Watch out for that stock. When the numbers came, in fact, we saw a bit of a bump up, and now it's moved to the low point of the day. Slip into a short break, come back. We'll talk about a lot of stocks. We'll try to answer some of your queries as well. Stay tuned.